and how have you been holding up?
I'm good. I'm holding up very well. Nice to meet you, Bonnie.
Nice to meet you. Well, I know this film premiered last year at the Toronto International Film Festival to rave reviews. It really is a phenomenal film. And for you, somebody who grew up with parents who were deaf, how important was it for you to be a part of this film?
Oh, well, my parents are no longer here. I wish they were. They'd really enjoy this. Even though my parents are not here, I'm so connected to the deaf community here. Many, many friends, good friends.
Yeah.
That it's important for me to see them portrayed correctly on the film, or in movies in general. Because
Absolutely.
they are so sick and tired of watching. An example, Julianne Moore in what's that? Wonderstruck.
Yes.
Wonderstruck.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. There's a lot of deaf actors out here that are just as talented that could have been cast, but Hollywood needed a name. I understand that. Okay, let's do that. But deaf people are a little bit up to here with it. So I hope that people see that, God, there's tons of deaf actors. And you know what? There's deaf doctors, deaf lawyers, deaf. And so just to see themselves portrayed on screen is one thing, but to see a hearing actor do it, it's like blackface. It doesn't work out.
I understand, and it's such a beautiful, the whole segment with you and Riz when his character comes, and it's tough love. Like you lay down the rules. It's one thing for somebody to be born deaf and to experience that and live life, but when halfway through your life or 20s or whatever it is, and you become deaf, that's a whole other thing to get used to.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how it's dealt with in this film. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, my parents were both deaf. My father was deafened about 3 months old, so he had no idea what it was to hear.
Right.
My mother lost it when she was 5. So now they lived their lives out till their 90s. My father was always a very peaceful, serene, calm guy. My mother, well, not so much. A little bit bitter, and still talked about the last song that she heard before the lights went out up here. So there is that. There's that discord between all the deaf people. Are not a monolith. There's so many different forms of deafness and levels of it. And even within the deaf community, there's elitism. You're not deaf enough. You hear too much. There's all that stuff. Yeah. So I think it's important for people to see that deaf people have addiction problems. Who knew? I thought they were all holy sainted. They're just so it's quiet.
No, like you say, they're like everybody else. Yeah, exactly.
That's what they want you to know.
Yeah.
And how they portrayed correctly on screen.
Yes. And I want to ask you lastly, working with Riz.
Yes.
He's extraordinary in this, and I'm sure it changed him personally. What impressed you most about Riz Ahmed in this role?
I was very strong with what I knew I was bringing to the role, and I could see that he was struggling, not as an actor. I could see him struggling to hear, and as I'm thinking about it now, it's kind of like breaking my heart a little bit now because he was really lost. And I could see that there's so much stuff on the editing floor that you're not going to see that they shot.
Right.
A movie can only be so long, I guess. But he's a phenomenal actor. And we didn't really talk to each other until after the filming. We finally sat down and had a bite to eat together. So during the filming, he left it the way it was in the script, and so did I. We were just getting to know each other, and I was going to tell him who I was, and I was observing him. But we were not friends during the filming of this. We were just doing our work. And he's a very smart actor.
Yeah, well, so are you. You did a spectacular job in this. And I really want to thank you because I grew up with my great uncle and aunt were deaf. And I was with them for many years before they passed. And it's as you said earlier in the interview, I wish they were alive to see this too. But thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.